Okay, so the Compliance Center here is a feature that we have newly released in RAMP. And the way we've kind of been framing this, and those of you who've been on webinars previously have probably heard me say this, but when we started up this company, we wanted to build accessibility tools to help people do the work. So we started off with like an embeddable accessibility center is what we called it, that would have an accessibility statement and a form, and we had automated page scanning. We built a Chrome extension. We built our manual audit tool. We've built the ability to manage user tickets and remediation tasks so you could collect feedback and address it from users. So, we've been building tools and features based on what our customers are asking us for and the feedback we're seeing as they use our tools. And then what we've done recently, which is really exciting, is we finally have a suite of tools that allows us to start thinking about offering compliance. We now have all of the pieces so that you can tackle full ADA compliance, full AODA compliance, EAA. So compliance with these various laws and regulations, which at the core is why most of our customers are here. So the other way I've been framing it is kind of we had to start with all the ingredients, and now that we've got the ingredients, we are now providing the recipes. So that's what the Compliance Center is. It's kind of tying together all the tools, hopefully in a cohesive fashion, so that our users have a better understanding of what they need to do, how they need to configure our tools, how they need to use our tools to accomplish their end goal, which in most cases is compliance with one of these accessibility regulations or laws. So that being said, I'm going to show off how to access and configure the Compliance Center in RAMP today. And I want to preface this by, like all of our tools, by saying, like all of our tools, this is new. This is our first version. We will be iterating on this forever, but especially during the next couple of months as we get users into the system. So I'm kind of showing V1 off today. If you're someone watching this in the future on YouTube or Vimeo, it most certainly will have changed by the time you see it. And for anyone on the webinar today that has any suggestions or questions, we want to hear from you. So don't hesitate to go into this Get Help area in RAMP and shoot us any kind of feature requests or troubleshooting. Any kind of suggestions you have, we want to hear from you so we can make this better. Okay, so here is a website in RAMP. So just a reminder, you can manage a variety of different websites. The Compliance Center is configured on a per website basis. So if you are an e-commerce brand and you have a European version of your store, a Canadian version, a US version, you could set those all up. It's 3 different websites in here, and then be able to set the regulations independently of for each website. So when you first set this up, and I'll note too, if you have our compliance or our Ally Center active, you won't see the Compliance Center. So if you're a legacy customer that's been using our Ally Center, just contact support and we'll enable this Compliance Center. This kind of supersedes the old Ally Center. But you get in here with a new website and you're going to see this on your dashboard. So you can either get started, and this is going to lead you to a questionnaire. So we've developed this questionnaire for customers that are trying to figure out what laws they need to be compliant with, laws or regulations. So you can answer a few questions and we'll make some suggestions. Or alternatively, you can also choose the laws and regulations that if you know what you want to do, if you know what you're trying to meet, you can select them from this screen that has a list of the various laws and regulations. So I'm going to go hog wild. I'm going to select all of them right now and best practices. I'll add two, if you want to learn more about any one of these regulations, you can hit this learn more link. It's going to slide out a pane that tells you some broad information. And then we have playbooks for every one of these laws as well that you can download if you want to. So these are PDFs, and this is a great resource to circulate around within your team. And so this really goes into detail about each one of these laws and regulations. So anyway, back to the list. I'm selecting all of them. I'm going to do best practices as well. The idea with the best practices is this is kind of a catch-all if you don't know which law or regulation you want to meet. And I'm going to hit finish and save. So what this is going to do now is this is going to, based on my selection, create a list of actions that I need to take in order to bring this website up into compliance. So the first thing that you're going to want to do, these steps are what I'll run through today. So this first thing you want to do is you want to manage your WCAG level. Based on the selection that you made for laws, this is going to provide a recommended level. So WCAG 2.2 AA is the recommended level for me today. So as you configure these, you're going to see them turn into a green checkbox, and you're also going to see your progress on this circle in the upper right improve. So secondly, you are going to want to assign an accessibility advocate. So we've got some knowledge base articles about who this should be, how they should respond. The idea here is the accessibility advocate for this website should be the person that is responding to accommodation requests and barrier reports. So if you are an e-commerce store, this might be a member of your customer service team, or it could be your customer service email address, provided you've trained everyone adequately. If you are a web design agency and you have a number of different websites for your clients that you are configuring in here, you probably want to work with your client to determine who should be the proper advocate. If you are a SaaS company or you're owner operator of a small website, maybe this is you. So this person is going to be the person that receives feedback. When you receive feedback from users, if they're having difficulty using your website, and in reality, you're going to receive all manner of feedback, you need to provide an immediate accommodation. So help them access your goods or services or the information. Then ideally ask some questions from that person so that you can recreate the issue and remediate it for future users. So anyway, this is the person that is going to be put onto the accessibility page and is going to be required to respond to different feedback. So I'm gonna put my own email address in here. And I'm going to hit assign advocate. And then this person will receive a email confirmation that they need to click on. So next thing is establishing an accessibility page. So you can see our own accessibility page down here. I'll roll these next two into this same one. So I'll show you ours in a second, but here's the accessibility page. You want to put the URL. So let's do this, accessibleweb.com. Boom. Accessibility. And I'm checking the box saying that my accessibility page includes an accessibility statement. So your accessibility page needs to have an accessibility statement on it. We have a statement generator. We've had a lot of clients that recently have been using Gemini, ChatGPT to generate these. You should definitely make sure you're running your accessibility statement past your client if you're an agency, past your legal counsel, depending on how your organization set up. Accessibility statement can be simple, it can be complex. We've got some various blog posts about it and resources to help you generate this. But generally, here's my accessibility page. I've got this linked. I'm going to hit save. and then set up a user feedback form. So I'll show you this form in a second. I'm going to hit enable here. Here's the code snippet. So we have an embeddable user feedback form. You can also, instead of using our embedded form, if you don't want to embed external code onto your website for whatever reason, you can also use an email address. But the advantage of using our feedback form is that when people submit the feedback form, it's going to put that user ticket directly into Ramp and notify your accessibility advocate, and everything's tied together in a nice package. It can also allow the, if you're an agency, it'll notify you as a Ramp user, so you can go in, make sure your customer is responding properly and providing that accommodation, and then you can work with your customer to update their website. So we'd recommend using this form, pretty easy to embed, and we also have some customization options here so that you can change colors and whatnot and padding to make it look good with your website. So I'm going to embed that one, and then I'm going to show you our accessibility form on accessibleweb.com, our accessibility page, sorry. So here's the page. This is relatively simple. We've basically got a commitment to using WCAG as our guidelines. We have a statement that says we believe everyone deserves equal access to information, tools, and services, regardless of ability. We happen to mention we're members of IAAP. We also discuss our accessibility log. So this is something I can show in a moment. So Ramp will automatically log activities that are done on your website. And oops, if I go back, and then here is our big bold, if you've encountered a barrier or need assistance, we have multiple ways to get in touch with us. Here is our embedded form. So if this gets filled out, this will flow the information into Ramp so that people, the applicable members of your team, folks on your team get notified and can resolve the issue. And then we've also got this paragraph about always improving. So big part of compliance is progress over perfection. So that's how we chose to round out our accessibility page. So again, you can make this simple, you can make this complex, and we're happy to help our customers put these together. And over the next couple of months, our plan is to roll out an improved accessibility statement generator. It's one of the things that clients have been asking for now that we have the Compliance Center rolled out. All right, so user tickets is the next thing. This one's green because I don't have any user tickets, but this is basically the user ticket area of Ramp. So as feedback comes in from your customers, as they submit this form or they email and folks add it into tickets, you have an area here. And so the idea here is to create an ongoing log of feedback that's come from your customers so that you have a paper trail that you've provided accommodations, created remediation tasks, and resolved those tasks, therefore eliminating the barrier. So responding to users that are having trouble on your website, this is one of the best things you can do to solidify your compliance stance. So we definitely recommend using this tool within Ramp. Moving on, go back to the Compliance Center. Okay, so adding pages for monitoring, what you want to do here is go into Pages and monitor your whole website. I've already set this up for this website, but you can go into settings and automated scanning. We have multiple different options here for ingesting pages. For this particular one, we use their sitemap.xml file, which keeps updated as the website changes. And for this website, we are scanning it weekly. The next step is enabling continuous monitoring. So we're monitoring on a weekly basis, and then enable accessibility logging. So I'm going to hit enable log right here, and I'm going to opt in to automatic logging and opt in to display my log publicly. So you have two options to display your log publicly. You can either use this code snippet to embed the log on your accessibility page, or you can use this link right here, which will allow you to link to the accessibility page, similarly to the example I showed you here. And again, we've got customizations available so that you can set up your accessibility log if you choose to embed it or link to it. You can set up different styles to match your branding. So this is a big thing customers have been asking for, is white labeling, the ability to change colors. So that is set up there. Change this, hit save. Cool. So I'm now up to 10 of 14. All right, achieve 100 of 100 automated score. So what you want to do here is, now that you've got your pages ingested, they've all scanned. If you go to automated scanning, we have a tool here that aggregates the various failures that exist on the website. So it looks at the failure element combinations and it creates a list of things to fix. And so here on ada.gov that I'm looking at, there's actually only one issue, but the issue exists on 79 pages. So if I was to fix this issue, you would see that these 98 of 100 scores, you can see these pages all have the same one issue apparently across all of them. If we fix this one issue, we'd have 100 of 100, and RAMP would detect that we have 100 of 100 automated score. So I want to emphasize here that this is not full ADA compliance. You need to do manual auditing in order to be ADA compliant or EAA compliant. I guess I should be saying this isn't full WCAG conformance, but it's about 35% of the way there. But we do recommend trying to get to 100 of 100 score as kind of a first benchmark to hit, in addition to having your accessibility page set up, because this is a milestone benchmark you can hit really quickly using our tools, and it makes a big difference in the usability of your website. So if I get to 100 of 100, now you get into what I'll say is kind of the hard part. And this is where we use this in a previous demo, but you're going to want to start thinking about manual auditing. So we have our manual audit grid. Click here. And what you want to do here is you want to look at your website and create a representative sample of pages. So to do this really thoroughly, you want to follow the WCAG evaluation methodology. That is located WCAG-EM here. This is pretty dense reading. This goes into exactly how you should scope out audits. There's a lot to it, but what we would recommend is doing a representative sample of pages. So if you've built your website, e-commerce sites usually have like a homepage, collections page, product details, cart, checkout, my account, store locator. So that's kind of the main templates that make up the essential flow, just purchasing a product. You can always add more templates over time. So at the high end, read the WCAG evaluation methodology, come up with your scope that way. At a bare minimum though, out of the box, every website in RAMP has the homepage pre-configured as the template. And we'd recommend, at the very least, always doing a manual audit of your homepage, because that's going to include the header and the footer. The homepage is typically your most trafficked page for most websites. So if you can do a manual audit of the homepage, that's better than nothing, especially in addition to the automated scanning. But ideally, come up with your templates. And then what you'll do is you'll complete your first manual audit test. So with this manual audit grid, I'm going to click on any one of these cells. It's kind of like a big bingo board. So I'm going to click on, let's see, color contrast on the resources page. So 1.4.3, that's going to open up ada.gov/resources, the page I'm looking at, and it's going to open up our Chrome extension, provided you have that installed, which you should. And I've got 3 tests here for WCAG 1.4.3 color contrast. So I'll complete those tests, and then the log over time will populate. It'll go from white blanks, ideally, to green check marks. And there's a lot here. We're actually doing a separate webinar series called Manual Audit Mondays. So I'm not going to get into this today, but there's a lot of work to be done when you start with manually auditing a website. And this is also a service that we offer if you need a jumpstart or partner to help you fill out this manual audit grid. So this manual auditing process is the key to full WCAG conformance, to passing 100% of these success criteria, so you can really have a high confidence that your website's accessible. So make progress on your audit grid, and then beyond that, the last two boxes are shifting left. So a lot of these laws and regulations have requirements around training and thinking about embedding accessibility into your process. So we've got a whole slew of courses at Accessible Web Academy. It's academy.accessibleweb.com. And you can find this from our main website. So we would definitely recommend getting into some training to familiarize yourself with the best practices of web accessibility. So a lot of different topics here. And then the final step is getting a certification. So Accessible Web certifications we offer to customers that have gone through the process of doing all these steps, that have us do a manual audit and verification. So this is kind of the final stamp of approval if you really want to have a bulletproof compliance stance for your website. So probably way over time, but I'll stop there and open it up for questions.